Are you waiting to build something big? That's the biggest mistake most people make. We refused to wait, we're in our 20s, and we built a home improvement company past $10 million. Not because we knew everything, but because we were desperate enough to figure it out along the way. If you don't want to waste decades playing it safe, and if you're ready to build success earlier and live stories worth telling and stay ahead of the curve, subscribe now. Let's get into the episode. He's been with AE since day one, starting as our very first design consultant, grinding his way through sales, production, crew leadership, before launching a new location. Braden's passion, creating opportunities for people who might not get a shot anywhere else. His advice to the industry, recruit relentlessly and choose good people over resumes. And just this year, he and his team smashed past the $2 million mark in Indianapolis. Shall we, boys?
Today's topic: why a bad hire can or almost will sink your company. Will it?
Yeah. Yep, most definitely. A bad hire can and will sink your company at any level.
Have you ever had it happen to you?
I haven't had one sink the company, but I've had a couple bad hires actually put me in a really tough situation. So.
You think it's something that, because ultimately you were here in Fort Wayne, and we have a Fort Wayne office. You were here last year. Then you moved to Indianapolis, to Greenfield, another location. I feel like I tried to shield you from some of the really bad shit. Do you feel like that's anything that I could have prepared you for, or it's just something you had to go through?
I would say it's really not something that you could have prepared me for, just because you don't really know until you do it and you're really in the thick of it. You would make the hires, you would interview, and all I would do is tell you if the guy showed up that day or if he was good or not, and then you would kind of take care of that.
How about falling back on the good people over resumes? What to recommend, or what do you guys have for recommendations or insight on the recruiting good people over the resumes?
JP, you want to take that one? Sales manager?
One thing you told me was I was going into my first interview and you were like, bro, you'll know if he has it within the first 5 minutes. And I think you can be able to tell a good person. Again, you can fake a resume. You can fake oh yeah, I like to, show up to work on time, this, that, the other. But the real tellteller is, what they do outside of work, how they present themselves one-on-one. I think most of the time, we talked about the skill versus the value you bring as a employee. And you can't train being a good person.
I think the reality of it, and Tim, this is going to be a short for you. I don't give a fuck what is on your resume. I don't give a fuck about what you've done. I care about how you interact with me and you. If I sit in that room with you and I'm I would buy from this guy, or I would let this guy install my border or fence or deck or, coating or whatever it may be, you'll know right away, I want this guy on my team. And those are the guys that you're really, ultimately an interview is a sales pitch, right? If you don't sell people a vision to come and work for you, it's so easy to be the guy that's I can't find any good employees. I can't find any good workers, right? How many times have you held a job, or that you've went into work, you've got your paycheck, you've went home, and that's kind of been the end of it?
Yeah, a couple times. It's just where there's no growth, there's really just no potential for anything good to happen. I feel if you can't give somebody a vision or an opportunity that aligns with their goals, they don't care, because at the end of the day, they don't care what your goals are either. Can you get them to do the things that are going to help them reach their goals that also align with the company's overall, I guess?
So part of understanding a good person is knowing what you're trying to get after. Sounds like you have to see the vision in order to pick them out of the group of people to this would be somebody that fits the vision. This one does too. one thing, and I asked Jamie this actually on the first episode of a different podcast name, but it was like, what, like obviously when you're hiring somebody, you have to have that base in order to look for that. So like, how did you develop, I guess, Braden, how did you develop yourself into the person to find good people?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I would say that I don't look for like myself in the interview, but a lot of times, like, I feel like I run into people that do remind me of me at the beginning, like whether it be somebody that doesn't really have any experience, because I didn't either. Like, I had no experience. I had no idea what I was really doing, but I just knew that I would show up every day and I had the right attitude and I would be willing to learn. And you can really sense that when you interview people, I feel like.
There's a massive difference between recruiting and interviewing, right? And if people are watching this and they own a company or a part of a company and you don't have somebody actively recruiting people, you're doing it completely wrong, right? You should be actively recruiting people all day, every day. Every time I have an interaction with somebody, my girlfriend hates me for it because we'll go in somewhere and be like, he would make killer sales rep. I'm going to try and get his number. She's like, stop trying to get that guy's number. He's working a job. Like, we're at dinner, like, stop. And I'm just like, no. Cause like, I think there's, a lot of times like more, like people want more, right? But they just sometimes don't know like where to find more, right? And so that's where it comes into us, as leaders of, a company to go out and recruit, not interview, we recruit, right? We're finding them versus interviewing just people that come in and just, asking the questions, going down the list versus going out, and it's just like sales, right? Going out, like hunting it, finding somebody, selling them, bringing them in, like showing them the way. Two completely different things.
Most definitely.
Was there any time where, and like you guys have a lot more hiring and interviewing experience than me, but like, was there a time where you were like, yeah, that guy's going to kill it? Like, great guy, great person, but then ultimately it didn't work out?
We're going to find out with Matt Godzu out of North Carolina right now. We just hired this guy out of North Carolina, which I think he's going to be a stud, but we're going to find out because I'm really high on him. I think I've been pretty high on a couple others this year, and I've been pretty close in terms of right or wrong in a lot of those, but he's a big one that I'm just curious to see what happens. So, and I'll be interested to see by the time this podcast comes out, he'll have probably another week or two of running leads. So I'm curious to see how that turns out.
Yeah. Have you ever had it go the opposite way too, though, where you hired somebody where you're like, this guy will be all right for a while, and then he just ends up being a massive player for you?
Sometimes it's the other way. So you're saying like he came in and I didn't think he'd be good.
Like you really didn't have any particular expectations for him other than kind of need to fill a spot for now. And then it's like, wow, this guy's actually really good. I guess that'd be more of a kind of like a production side of it then.
I don't know if I've really ever had that.
Well, I hired probably it was my first hire. Just a kid. I figured, yeah, he'll be all right. Pierce Soto, shout out Pierce. Anyways, I'm like, yeah, this guy will be all right. And then he was never bad, but like it kind of just got to the point where you just saw him like just keep going up a little bit, like, and now he's running the crew and probably one of my best guys. And looking back on it, I would have never. It's not that I didn't ever think he would do it. I just didn't know like if it would ever come to that.
He's one of like a good story of like guys that just stack small wins and eventually, look back and then just enjoyed the journey. I feel like the guys that come in and just want to go here, like that's just an unrealistic curve. At what point does that, do you almost fall off that and backwards, right? Where as if you just build that incremental growth where I feel like Pierce has done, like that's sustainable. This isn't sustainable.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It's like, it's definitely cool to see too, like a long drawn out process of someone that just keeps coming back every day regardless. So,
yeah.
As a leader though, like how do you facilitate that? Cause like that's a big part of it. And to bring it to like even the negative side, like at one point do you say like, this guy, I can't do anything else for him?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets to the point where, like, obviously some people have it, some people don't. But, I mean, I told him when he first came in, like, I knew he was just a young kid kind of looking for a start somewhere. And I told him, I basically said, like, hey, I'll just tell you up front the same thing I got told. Like, if you get in with me, I can take you wherever you want to go, but ultimately you get out of it what you put into it. So
How much of it as a leader do you take it upon yourself when it comes to like how well a hire does? Does that make sense?
yeah, I would say, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you hire them, and you also, like, you got to continually sell them on the vision, like continually show them what they could become. So, I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. Just kind of you also got to give them the resources they need to succeed. Like, some people need you to talk to them once in a while and tell them they're doing a good job. Some people just need you to kind of show them and then get out of their way and let them take it from there.
That employee is your responsibility at the end of the day. That is such a bullshit cop-out answer when you say the guy just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, some guys won't work out, but it's like, have you gotten in the car with them? Have you been in the truck with him? Like, have you shown him how to do it the proper way? Like, have you shown him the operating procedure? Like, have you given him the materials to be successful? Like, all of these different things before you tell me, no, that guy's just not going to make it, because it's such a cop out. And I hear it all the time, and I've had to, Tuna, I've had to smack him before for saying that shit. And it's like it's such a cop out. Like, take it upon yourself, like, to have the responsibility that you hired that guy, like, get off your ass and, like, make sure that guy's successful. And, I've been guilty of it before too. A lot of people have been guilty of it because it's so much easier to be like, that guy just doesn't have it. Like, just so much easier.
Yeah. Versus, it's easy to say he doesn't have it versus taking the time to actually coach him up if he really needs it.
It's easy to say he doesn't have it versus saying you might not have it.
Yeah.
I've been a part of so many different organizations. Like, we've taken over different coatings locations, and people would be like, it's just way different. It's just way different here. You'll never understand. You'll never understand the traffic, the people, whatever it may be. And it's like, it's all the same. Like, we're all humans. Like, we have a service that customers want. Like, we go to their home, sell them the product, come and install it, give them a good customer experience. Like, it's a pretty simple game we play. It just requires collecting a lot of really good people. And you've heard me say this countless times, and I'm sure you have too. Like, I don't think AE's growth is capped by anything other than the amount of good people we collect. If you seriously gave me 100 more people that are just like rock solid, I know show up to work every day, give 110%, I don't think AE would be capped in terms of its growth.
No. And I mean, that's definitely the reassuring part of it too, is just knowing that there's always good people out there that we're going to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said there's a bad hire, keeping them around is not good. At one point, do you know when to let him go?
I think there's always like the writing on the wall of, like, if let's say something happens and it's like, oh, like, that wasn't very good, but like, it's not necessarily something you would fire him over. You can kind of see the writing on the wall though of like what's probably to come in the future from that.
I think there just has to be open communication, right? It should never be a surprise.
Yeah.
It should literally never be a surprise. And it's like, sometimes we're giving written warnings, or we're having that communication where it's like, hey, you didn't meet our standard. And it's like tough because it's really something probably that's not very big. But as long as you have that communication, be like, hey, this cannot be tolerated here. You guys should both walk away at the end of it knowing that it's like, hey, this didn't work for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. So I think the open communication is definitely where most people drop the ball, just because, again, it's a little bit more effort. It's a little bit more time. It's a little bit more of uncomfortability.
But having that, you get that closure though of like, I set this expectation. If it's not met, like, it's not going to work.
Yep. I think one of the things too, and one of the main reasons we like doing this podcast is like anyone that's like listening too, that like doesn't, maybe doesn't have the fulfillment they're looking for at a job they're at, or looking to get into, like, I think AE is a great place to cultivate like that culture and like get more people that are in that same mindset. So like anybody that like listens to this, they see all of our Instagrams, see all of our Facebooks, like reach out, right? Like we're always looking to add and collect more good people. And hopefully, eventually build this into one of the biggest home improvement companies in the nation.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's definitely a place where anyone with the right attitude and like-mindedness could make it.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Like what last piece of advice would you give to anyone listening?
I would just say that like your success is in your people. Like the people you bring on will either be why you make it or why you don't. So definitely all of it is in the people.
I think it also falls to the person that's leading the people too. Like you have to be able to have that solid foundation of being a good person, to see a good person. And if you're running into issues with the people you're managing, like it might have something to do with you.
Get off your ass and go collect more good people.
Facts.